Well, g'day there, traders and friends, market participants and enthusiasts right around the world. Thanks a lot for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon market recap. I do have quite a lot to update you on as at the close on Tuesday. Now, across the board, we have seen once again a very healthy, a very constructive day's worth of trade. Both the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 have intraday pushed to new all-time highs. If you pay attention to the top right-hand figures in my screen, you can see that the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up just shy of 144 points. Meanwhile, the S&P 500, although we only pushed on up and closed 5 points higher, we did start to, of course, intercept and tag that 2,669 breakout entry, as you can see on my screen. Now, obviously, if you listened to my market update yesterday, I have been waiting for the golden key, so to speak, to trigger before I start opening up potential diamond positions and also SPY positions that we are already holding. Now, the reason for that is because the NASDAQ is a little bit lower away from its respective resistance area. Also, if you pay attention to a lot of these tech companies, for instance, such as Apple, you can still see that we do have potentially some intermediate reversal patterns still under construction. So the reason why I suggest waiting for the NASDAQ to really confirm what appears to be that of a marginal breakout or on the precipice of a breakout, more so closer related to the industrial average and the S&P 500 is because I want to see, of course, these big tech companies validate the most recent push on up higher. If you pay attention also to Amazon, you can see it's pulled back and it is quite far away from its most recent swing high to the upside. If you pay attention to Google, again, a very similar picture. So this is across the board in the world of tech. And again, it's best surmised by the actual candlestick and, of course, chart pattern construction, as you can see on the NASDAQ itself. Now, we did close down just shy of 10 points on the NASDAQ. So we are seeing very slight divergence between these three market indices. But at the same time, I have a lot to keep you updated on in regards to individual trades. Now, if you pay attention, this is Boeing Airlines. We've had two triggers on this. Our first trigger was 267.88. Our secondary trigger was up here at 279.08. At the moment, we have just broken above, of course, $290 per share. We were up another $3.82 during today's trading session. So you can see my target on this. It's falling just shy of $300 per share. If you entered in at $267, you are now up very, very well. You're up almost $22 per share. If you link that into, of course, those call option derivatives, you are doing fantastically well. Even if you got in at $279 per share, you're still up over $11 in the past about 7 days worth of trading activity. Some really nice gains on Boeing Airlines. Now, if I continue this discussion into IBM, today we hit our target. So this is another fantastic trade. We've had two entries on IBM, 152.04 and 152.68. Today we hit our target at 157.73. Now, I don't think and I do not expect this to be the ultimate target for IBM. I still have a higher target, a secondary target up here at $160.42. This is where you can start rolling out of course, the second lot of options if you chose to leg out of these option contracts or your original position in two stages. So today, essentially stage one was targeted, it was hit, and now we are waiting for, of course, that 160.42 entry or target, to be hit over the coming days, if not weeks. So it's two really nice trade setups to give you a continuation or an update on. Apple, again, I've referenced this yesterday. We're still going through, of course, the potential breakout above these two swing highs over here, which at this point continue to build as that of a double top. So we'll pay attention to that. I've sort of touched on Amazon, not a whole lot to update you on when it comes to that particular stock. Baidu is doing as we are suggesting, or as we have suggested. So as you can see, we're moving back down for the third touch of this support area, just below $230 per share. So this most recent swing high over here is now going to become our entry trigger for what appears to be that of a consolidational range between $230 and $250 per share. This is not ready yet, but if we are to see a dark candlestick, say for instance on Wednesday, and then we begin to see that of a sort of like a hammer at support, or that of an engulfing candlestick, a one white soldier, that will be the candlestick to actually set up the breakout entry at about $237 per share. So I'm liking the way in which Baidu is continuing to set up. Caterpillar today pretty much went nowhere. We do have that of a shooting star candlestick, but we're still holding up above the breakout pivot. What is also interesting is that Tesla today really got moving. This is very, very important. I must update you on Tesla. Now, I've been calling for this particular stock to rally back up to about $240 per share. I would not, first of all, have 342 open in my account. I just want to make that very, very clear. What I'm expecting right now is to see Tesla pretty much stop and begin to throw out some reversal candlesticks right at this pivot. So please listen. Do not be looking at Tesla through the perspective or with the perspective of green lenses, so to speak. This is not the time to be bullish on Tesla. This is the location on the chart which is critical for the potential rollover or that of a definitive confirmation of a move higher. I would not have a trade open at this pivot. I would be looking at the daily candlesticks which is set to form, pretty much where we're running into at the current juncture. 339.91 was the closing price. I would be very surprised to see a similar candlestick take form tomorrow being Wednesday as to what we've seen already on Monday and Tuesday. I'm expecting a reversal signal to show up essentially right at this very same location. Now, again, Netflix is still retesting the pivot at 190. No major news there. I've recapped IBM. Goldman Sachs today went absolutely parabolic. We did close up just shy of $7.60. You can see we've broken above this swing high. So if you are in Goldman Sachs, congratulations. That's a trade that I did not really expect to trigger this week. I mean, we were closing, or at least we closed the week last week at 250. We're all the way up at 257. This is now a breakout on Goldman Sachs. If I flick to, of course, the CCI and the ADX, it likes this. The CCI is above 100. It's printing at 183, and the ADX is turning up. It's resting, or at least it's printing at 42. So keep an eye on Goldman Sachs. I wouldn't necessarily go chasing it above the high of Tuesday's close. If you did have the contingent order open at 256, you are up about $1 at the moment, but this is looking like a pretty decent trade breakout. Pay attention to obviously what happens on Goldman Sachs towards and continuing on this particular week. Google. Pardon me, we still have a series of spinning wave candlesticks, so we're really not seeing any major movements there. CVX is still holding that pivot point, even though we got a dark candlestick today. And again, I think I've already touched on COP, or COP might actually be the final stock, but we're still holding up above $51.23. Now, all being considered, let me just continue into the US dollar, because the US dollar today has continued to the upside. It has been that of a relatively sort of volatile day. We do have another spinning top type of candlestick. I wouldn't really call it that of a high wave spinning top, but it is a pretty decent spinning top. Again, we're just pushing above and continuing above the highs of the previous days. So everything is looking good on the US dollar. Whether you're in at 93.39 or 93.60, obviously that would be the contingent price to leg into UUP. They are all profitable trades, so I'm happy about that. And also, when we start looking at GLD and SLV, you can see the breakout triggers. Or pardon me, 121 is not the breakout trigger. This was a hypothetical stop, so I'm going to change the color of this to that of a red color. And this was based off our 119.99 breakdown entry for puts. And you can see for yourself that we're trading down here at 118.10. So what I said yesterday was that it wouldn't really surprise me to see some white candlesticks begin to set up on GLD and SLV. Well, we've got the first one today, but it's really not on that much volume. So this is just generally what's going to happen as we continue down to about our pivot at 116.44. So I'm not all too concerned about that one white candlestick on SLV, on GLD. And if I continue into SLV, you can see for yourself that today we hit our target at 14.74. So if you entered into SLV at 15.82, or if you got in at 15.21, I'd be you should have actually legged out of some of those positions during today's worth of trade if you had that contingent sell side, or at least sell position open or target open in your accounting or in your own personal trading account. So very happy about SLV, very happy about GLD, very happy about the US dollar, very happy about Boeing Airlines, very happy about IBM, which hit our first target today. We've got a lot of trades under construction. Goldman Sachs, an absolute surprise during today's session worth of trade. But rounding this full circle, and again, just to conclude with, pay attention to the pivots, all right? Very, very important. It looks as though the Dow wants to break out. I can see that for myself. It appears as though the S&P 500 wants to break out, but our criteria, so to speak, is really waiting for the NASDAQ to break above its resistance swing high up here. So I'm personally not adding to my diamonds positions. I'm personally not going to add anything to SPYs at this level Instead, I'll be waiting on the Qs or the NASDAQ, so to speak, to break above 6921 before I do any of those aforementioned things. And that's just a personal rule that I have because I'm still a little bit suspicious of what's currently in the works when we start looking at the most recent price action for that of the NASDAQ. And again, I just wanted to put a warning out there because something is telling me that you should be prepared for another sort of long day dark candlestick. All right. But, if we do break above 6921, I'm in on board with the bullish breakout. I won't be sort of humming and hawing about that. I do have this trade open in my account. All right. So on that note, everyone, I wish you a very nice Tuesday evening, and I'll be back with you tomorrow for another market recap. All the best, everyone. It's James signing off on behalf of Pivot Point Trading. Goodbye.